Good morning, and welcome to the Financial Pillars All About the Money podcast, presented by Our Neutral Voices Media. Our show is all about helping our audience understand money, mindsets, and tap into the economic knowledge that builds financially secure individuals, families, and communities. So whether you're tuning into our show to learn about budgeting, building credit, investing, or starting your own business, we're here to break it down in a real and relatable way. Before we get started today, who's going to take us in with the prayer?
I'm going to have Ben lead us in prayer this morning.
Okay. Yeah. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the ability to gather and educate. We ask whatever we discuss today be useful and informative to our listeners and also to us. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
Thank you. And I'm Ryan Leprid, private banker with Star Financial Bank.
We have Terrence Bush, a universal business banker at Greenway Bank.
Nthiwa-Weibel, branch leader at Flagstar Bank.
Gotcha. Before we get started on today's topic, last was it Saturday? This past Saturday, we had the first session of the new series of the financial literacy, right?
Yes.
Terrence, you were there. Unfortunately, I was not able to be there. Fill us in on what it looked like.
So pretty much Saturday at the Urban League from 6 to 8 p.m., we had a bunch of people come out. It was actually a larger turnout than what I expected. We pretty much talk about mentality and like keeping the balance between your finances and your mental state of mind at the same time. JJ Foster, of course, our host, was the individual that led from the mental standpoint, and I led the financial standpoint. So from how we went Saturday, of course, we talked about surrounding yourself by positive influences, keeping negative thoughts away from you, and be mindful of the thoughts that you entertain as well, and making sure that you keep a healthy balance as well. At the same time, we understand that managing your finances can be something that is extremely stressful, and it can put a lot of mental strain on you at the same time. But also you have to be reminded that you need to take care of yourself as well. And your mental peace is just as important as your finances are. So a big takeaway from that was making sure that you do ground yourself, making sure that you do take care of yourself as well. You work very hard for the money that you earn. If you go ahead and you pay your bills, you still have something left over. Of course, take the time to treat yourself. That doesn't mean that you have to absolutely like wipe out your finances to make yourself happy, but take the time to also reward yourself for the work that you put in as well. So it was a great time to connect the mental state of mind of keeping your own peace and managing your finances at the same time.
And that's the title of the series, Mental State of Mind, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we have two more in that series. Next one will be held on October 11th, which they're all on Saturdays. Correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And the one after that, the third one will be on November 15th. Looks like there was a time change last time. I think it started
Yes, there was a unanimous decision to change it from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. instead of 6 to 8.
From 4 to 6, yeah.
Yes.
So the next two series will be from 4 to 6, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So,
and also, I'm just going to throw this out there as well. The more people that you bring, the more times your name gets put in a raffle for a flat screen TV at the end of the series.
there you go. Gotcha. Do they have to attend all of them? Or
It's better if you attend all of them.
More
of
chances.
Course, always.
Nice. So, all right, jumping into our topic today. Remember from our last episode, I asked you gentlemen a question, what you think the most important thing is that somebody can have with their bank. What did you say?
Relationships.
Ben, what did you say?
Relationships.
Okay. Expand on it a little bit more. Why do we think a relationship is so important for somebody to have with their bank?
Just from the beginning, building that rapport and building that trust in your banking relationship is always going to be the most important thing, of course. There are some financial institutions out there that are just worried about how much money they can get out of you and how many credit products they can get you to, of course, adopt and apply for. Essentially, you want somebody that's going to care about your finances long term. Of course, the way that I say when I establish a relationship, this is a long-term journey. Mm-hmm. For the time that I am here and the time that you are here, you will be stuck with me. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, if there's anything that you need. Yes, and I say stuck. Yeah. I want you to know that you are stuck. You are my client. I'm going to take care of you. I don't want you, because to me, when I go into a bank, familiarity is one of the biggest key points for me. Mm-hmm. Seeing the same face. Like if I walk in the bank and I know everybody knows me by first name basis, I don't have to rebuild a relationship with you. You know who I am, just like I know who you are. Getting to know your clients on a personal level and a financial level is key to helping them on their financial journey as well. So that's just my take on it.
Yep. Ben?
Yeah, actually, I would say the same. It's really, it's not the bank, it's the people inside the bank, the connections that you have with them. Yeah. Walking in, knowing your first name, knowing about the vacation you took, the trip, your family, everything. It just helps customers just be more relaxed when they walk in and have a connection in the sense of they can discuss anything that they need. I always think about it this way. When it comes to having conversations with everyone, would you rather be comfortable talking it to a friend, or would you be comfortable just laying all your cards on the table with a stranger? And a lot of people will rely more on a friend, just because they're familiar with them, they know their name, they're comfortable, they're at ease, they know they're trustworthy. And pretty much the same goes back with with the bank. It's important, really, just knowing that there are people there with genuine intentions. They know you, they mean well. You can discuss anything with them and really walk out educated and empowered.
Mm-hmm. And you're probably gonna get more things done.
Yeah.
That way too.
Yeah.
Right. From a relationship standpoint, the banks understand that we all have very similar banking products when it comes to accounts and online banking and things like that nowadays. So really what it is kind of the relationship that sets you apart. That doesn't mean that because somebody has a great relationship with you in your bank that they would have the same great relationship with me or my bank. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have the same thing with yours, right?
Right.
It's about connecting with somebody within the bank or connecting with your banker to have that connection when you do need something. You find yourself in a stressful situation. You find some fraud on your account and you're kind of panicked, like, where'd my money go? Like, who do I call? Do you want to call an 800 number or do you want to call Terrence? Right?
Of course.
It's important to have that connection there. And I think you hit on the nail on the head there when you said that you can trust. Right? Trust is key to relationships. Right?
And it's the same thing that you said. Just because you go to one financial institution doesn't mean that you're going to receive the same treatment at every other financial institution. Mm-hmm. You can get great treatment anywhere you go. For me personally, it is the service that you are provided by one specific individual. So say you come to me because you have fraud on your account. The way that I service you with you having that fraud on your account is going to determine how well your relationship is with me. Mm-hmm. If I take the time to express my condolences for everything that you've gone through and I reassure you that I'm going to do everything within my power to try to get your money back for what you've suffered through, of course, and then I also educate you and teach you about other features and products that we have available to help you potentially circumvent that from happening ever again, that builds that level of trust. That builds that level of rapport. I'm letting you know that your finances are just as important to me as my finances are to myself. At the end of the day, if I have fraud on my account, I want somebody to take care of me the same way that I would take care of somebody else. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially treat others the way you would want to be treated. Mm-hmm. Like if I walk into your financial institution and you're my personal banker, I want to know for a fact that I can trust you with my finances and that you have my best interest at heart. I don't want to go somewhere where I'm just another number.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ben?
That is true. And also competencies. I think when you know and understand your banker, you really get to know their competency. And that's actually an empowering tool for customers. Mm-hmm. Because if I come into your bank and I know you as Ryan, my private banker, and you're really competent enough to educate me and solve my problems, I am 100% confident driving 20 miles to come to you because I know for a fact anything that I have will be resolved. But it is also good when it comes to a cultural aspects because, it could also be that different branches have different diversities, language barriers. And so it could provide somebody with an opportunity to really find a niche for a financial institution that really meets their needs and also customizes the solutions in a way that really mean well for that person. I can relate it with, for instance, cultures that only deal with cash society, just cash aspect. They don't want to earn interest or they don't want to, borrow money and things of that nature. That person will be more inclined to go to a banker that really understands, that aspect of the culture piece. And so on the competency piece would be just empowering, knowing that if I have a really good relationship with Terrence and I've interacted with Terrence with previous loan that I had, and Terrence was great to educate me on an interest rate and my monthly payment, and it really made sense to me. I'll lean more going back to Terrence because he helped me with it. And so I always like to look at it in a weighing scale in terms of how does a client benefit and also how does the bank benefit, because both of them benefit in one way. There's one where the client gets a solution that works for them, and the bank also benefit because of the interest and clientele, deposit growth, whatever that is. And so if both of them walk out happy and where the bank is profitable and they have clients that are trustworthy, loyal, long-term, and the client is happy, their needs are met, they're happy with where they are, they can ask anything, it's a win-win.
Mm-hmm. If anybody out there listening picked up on something Ben said about who would not want interest paid, right? Mm-hmm. There are some cultures out there where interest is not allowed, I think, due to religious reasons, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so don't need to spend a lot of time on that, but if anybody picked up on that and said, who wouldn't want interest? Yeah. There are people. But let's say, how do you drive home in today's world and technology, and especially the younger generation adapting more to the phones and ATMs outside and things like that? How do you drive home the fact and the importance of having that relationship to those individuals?
Technology has really made a major way when it comes to like taking clientele out of the bank's footprints. Online banking, ATMs, able to deposit through the app, direct deposits, being able to open an account online. It provides us with solutions. And I think a lot of banks are trying to customize technology in a way that it's easy and accessible to everybody. But there's a barrier to it, right? And I can only relate with sometimes when clients are trying to make those financial decisions about maybe taking a personal loan or taking a home equity loan. Sometimes they make a decision based on what they think is right? And so in most times, it could not be the best solution because they didn't really discuss with someone else or a financial professional. And so the technology, yes, it takes people away, but it's really important to really know that, okay, if I'm about to make a decision and this decision I'm making it online, I'm about to fill out an application online. Have I tried to talk to someone? Who do I know at my bank that can help me? If so, just even have the conversation. I'm very big on, if you have a bank within your community, walk in there, at least know someone. Walk in there, get to see the level of customer service that you get. Walk in there, interact with a banker or a teller. At least just even if it's once every 6 months, do a stop in. Financial reviews, most banks will provide you with a financial review every year. Make sure you're in the right accounts. Make sure you're earning the best interest. And that gives you an opportunity to at least know someone when you're about to make that decision. Often enough, I've seen clients make mistakes just because of what they thought was best for them. And this would be an example. Let's assume you have $8,000 in debt, and then you're looking for a way to pay off that debt or, restructure and have monthly payments. And then, for instance, you go online and you see, I have a 0% for 20 months. I can do a balance transfer. You apply for that card, you get a 10,000 credit limit, right? You immediately do that 8,000 balance transfer. Yes, you've solved the problem, but it could also significantly reduce your credit score because you've maxed out on your credit ratio. There are also other things that you may not think about. Okay, is the monthly payment on track for me to pay it off within 18 months? Also would be after 18 months, what are the interests? So those are conversations that you would have with a banker if you walked in to really figure out, okay, yes, this meets my now goal. Does it also take care of my long term? Is this feasible? Is the monthly payment able to, juggle and really pay off the solution that I'm trying to do? So I'm big on that. It's always wise to, no matter what decision you try to make, see if you can talk to a bank. If your bank is not within the footprint, I think most bank will have like a chat option on there if you're about to apply for an account, and you can chat with an agent or even call. Yeah.
Terrence, how would you drive home that fact to your client? You got somebody in front of you, and they're like, I can do all this on my phone. I do this. How do you understand the importance of you?
And
being stuck with you.
I don't want either one of y'all to take offense to this, but with me being closer to the younger generation, of course, when it comes to it, of course, I am that type of person as well. If I know I can do it from the convenience of my home, I can transfer money, I can open an account, I can apply for a loan of credit, I can apply for a credit card. Essentially, the question that I ask myself is, why do I need to go talk to somebody? Unless I have an absolute issue where I need to go into a physical location and I need to speak with somebody, there's essentially no reason for them to do that. From my experience, I've had younger people open accounts online, apply for credit cards online, get their auto loans and such online, and they'll need to come in because they need to get a new debit card because it's either expired or they experienced debit card fraud. That allows me to extend that olive branch. That allows me to plant that seed. I've had so many young people that I've been able to sit down with, and I'll even give them my card. I was like, I am not the type of person that will reach out to you to call you just to see what I can find for you. If it's something that I know for a fact that I know will benefit you, I said, I will absolutely reach out to you. I said, I am speaking from experience. You 100% are in control of your finances. I said, but at the same time, I said, we all make mistakes. I said, we all have questions. I said, don't ever feel like you can't ask me any type of question. I said, you can call me at any point in time. You can send me an email. I said, even if you don't want to come in and talk to me, you just want to have a phone call, we can do that as well. Mm-hmm. I understand that you have banking at your fingertips and you don't see the need to stop into a branch. You don't want to take the time out of your day. You don't have to come in. You can just give me a phone call. You have questions. Or if you want to come in and you want to see me in person. And just being able to just let them know that, hey, even if you don't want to come in, I am here for you if you need that. I've had more younger clients come back to me just for the fact that I told them, I'm here for you if you need me. I'm not going to be somebody that's always in your face. I'm not going to constantly be calling you. And I've actually been able to help a lot of younger people set up savings plans for themselves at a younger age. I helped this one girl set up her automatic transfers into a savings account. Now she has money that she's been saving for years just because she didn't want to go into the branch. She didn't want to talk to anybody. And once I opened her eyes, I'm like, we are here for you. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't feel like you need us, we are still here for you. I don't want you to feel like you are pressured to come talk to us. I want you to come to me out of your own personal wants and your own personal desires. You have a future just like everybody else does. Mm-hmm. I said, there's no reason that you shouldn't be planning for your future now. And it's just being able to plant the seed and just nurture it and just let them know, even like Ben said, even if you reach out to them every couple of months, hey, this is so-and-so. I know I seen you a couple months ago when you came in to get a debit card. I'm just reaching out to let you know, hey, I'm still here for you. If you have any questions, you can reach me at any point in time. It's in the modern day with technology, of course, it has taken out the personalization when it comes to banking. Mm-hmm. So being able to bridge that gap with the younger generation is something that takes time. So again, the only way that I hit home is even if you don't need it, again, I am still a resource here for you. And I even let them know. I say, hey, in a couple months, I will give you a phone call. I'll probably leave you a voicemail just to check on you and see how things are going. I said, I will probably review your account since I'm the one that helped you with it. And if I notice anything, I said, I'll give you a call. And I'm like, hey, let's have a little chat. I said, let's talk about some things. I said, I've noticed like a little pattern or something like that. Let's get you out of that. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out something that can help you manage your finances better. So it's not me essentially trying to insert myself as a parent or a role model for them, but just a resource that they have when they need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think back to not my current bank, but the previous bank, which is one of the largest in the country, right? So I remember at one point in time, there was an initiative that came down and said, hey, every client that comes in and sits with you, you need to take them out to the ATM. They want to make a deposit. They're standing in line waiting on a teller. You walk up, you greet them, ask them what they want, and offer to take them out to the ATM machine, show them they can do all this from out there. If they're at your desk, show them how they can do this out of here. And to me, it was kind of like, we're technology is great. Mm-hmm. I'm not opposed to showing them what ability they have, but I'm also want to drive home the fact that we are here for you and you should want to come see us, right? I didn't believe in the fact we should be driving people out of the branch. And ultimately, that's how people felt, right? They felt like, well, no, I'm standing in line. I know I can do that, or that's great, you can do that, but I still want to come talk to so-and-so over here. Right? They still had that old school mentality, but it was kind of a battle between employees and corporate. For corporate benefit is, hey, less employees, less overhead, moving to a technology, but they tried to sell it from a standpoint of the younger generation. Well, the younger generation wants to do everything from their phone. They want to do everything remotely. They want to do it. That's great. But while we have them here, shouldn't we embrace that and show them the benefit of coming into the bank? If they're in here, why do we want to drive them out, right? I always started with the parents, right? Parents still understand the relationship, the importance of that. So, hey, I need to open an account for my kid. Well, don't do it online. Bring them in. Let them sit with me. Let me go through and explain everything through that. Because there's going to be times, questions they have that they don't know the answer to. And if they don't have nobody to call, they're going to be less hesitant to call an 800 number. They're going to be relying on you to do it. You don't know everything either, right? So start with the parents, and it all starts with account openings. They want a credit card. Great. I'm not going to forward them online to go order that credit card. Have them come in and sit with me. Let's go over the credit card. Let's go over the options. That way we can discuss how credit cards work. Importance of paying it off, avoiding interest, points, all that type of stuff, right? That's a financial education we're helping to provide them that they may not be getting or understand.
Absolutely. Right? And there are instances where I've had people that I've opened their accounts online. They'll call in, well, I got this fee on my account, or I got charged for this, I got charged for that. And in the most respectful way I can, I was like, so when you opened your account, I said, there is a prompt that gives you the fee disclosures. I said that you do have to acknowledge that you read. And I asked him, I said, did you take the time to actually read those? Well, no, I kind of skimmed over them. Well,
no one has ever read those.
I implore you to come in and sit down and talk to me. I said, there are a lot of fees and there are a lot of other features that are also associated with your account. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, your account is not free. And the one that you applied for has this monthly fee if you don't maintain this balance. Well, I didn't know that. I implore you to come into the bank. come talk to somebody that works here. We will find you something that is best suited for your needs at the time. And just having a phone discussion with her, I was like, well, tell me about like your personal life. I was like, are you currently working? Well, no, I'm in college. Did you know that we had a student account? Well, I didn't know that.
No, you don't know that unless you come in. Like, you're not going to go through all the products online and figure out what the best one is for you, right? You need somebody to come talk to and trust. Yeah. So, that's the power of relationship when it comes to banking. But I want to expand on that a little bit more, because the power of relationships in general. And what I mean by that, so like for myself personally, I can think that pretty much every job I've ever had in my life has come from somebody I know, like a relationship. Starting off with my entry into the financial world. I had a buddy in the early, or my early 20s, right? He was managing a mortgage company here in town. And I'd even take a step back. He wasn't even my buddy at that time. I knew him. He was an acquaintance, right? We went to school together since middle school, but we didn't really particularly like each other, right? We weren't enemies, but we just didn't hang in the same crowd. Didn't really, weren't really friends or anything. So he didn't owe me anything. This time I'm living with some guys, and one of my buddies was at a bar and ran into the guy. And, I'm sitting here talking about, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm working at a factory right now. Realize that this isn't for me. He's like, hey, I ran into so-and-so the other night. He's managing a mortgage company. Go talk to him, right? Fate has it, next weekend, I was at the bar, and guess who was there, right? I spent a lot of times at the bar at that point in time. But he didn't owe me anything. I brought it up to him. He said, yeah, come talk to me on Monday. I did. He hired me in a job I probably wasn't qualified for at that point in time, right? Because I started my first day at a mortgage company, and I said, what, we do loans here? Yeah, we do mortgages. What's a mortgage? Right? Just didn't know the term. Didn't know that was a house loan. I didn't own a home at that point in time, right? But from there on out, like pretty much every, that when I left the mortgage industry, I called up somebody, said, hey, can you get me in here? Yeah, absolutely. You start to build up a reputation of being a good worker, hard worker, a good employee. You know people, you can call them. My job I'm at with now Star, it wasn't a friend. I was just applying at places, and I wasn't getting a call back, didn't get a call back from Star. So I got creative, went on LinkedIn, found out HR manager at Star, I went to school with. Once again, didn't know them, or I shouldn't say didn't know them, wasn't friends with them, probably hadn't talked with them since middle school, but I had somebody that I knew that I was able to reach out from that knew me and knew my name, said, hey, send me your resume right now. I don't see it. Send it to her. Boom, that started the interview process, right? So the power of relationships. And I go in and talk to, on behalf of JA, though, like middle schoolers, and talking about the power of relationships, because, middle schoolers, high school kids aren't always the nicest to people. And that's always the topic I talk to them about and tell them that story is like the person that you're sitting next to right now, you don't have to be best friends with them, right? But you also don't have to be enemies. Show them respect, because that could be the person that gives you a job 15 years from now.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. You have any experiences like that?
As far as work, I will say
just in general, relationships.
Yeah, of course.
Relationships
I guess
have benefited you in your life and career.
In terms of relationships, I will say, especially when it comes to banking and when it comes to purchasing like large purchases, as far as getting a car, I typically go to my family members. Well, where did you get your car from? Well, I went to this place. Well, why did you go to that place? Well, I like the selection. I like the people that work there. They weren't pushy with the sales. They treated people with respect, and they gave you your space, and they let you shop around. Okay, I like that. I appreciated that. So that company got my business because the relationship that I had with my friends and family members, they referred me over there. Same thing with banking. Same thing when you talk about parents that open up accounts for the kids. They're not going to refer their children to bank at the same bank as them if they haven't had a good experience.
Very true. Yep.
Same thing with jobs. You reached out to such and such. Okay, I know this guy. I interacted with him a couple of times. I think he's pretty cool. I'll give him a chance. And the baseline is you can hire anybody as long as you can train them and they're willing to learn and grow. Mm-hmm. You can mold them into being one of the best people ever. So having relationships is very important. Anytime I'm in the job market, I know people in several different industries. I'll reach out to them. Hey, do you have any openings? Or like, do you have this? I've been considering doing this. Can you give me like a rough overview of how this works? Oh yeah, I can put in a good word for you. Having relationships is important. Networking is important.
Networking, yep.
Absolutely. It's always going to be important. It's a way for you to get a leg up when you are either lost or you feel like you've retrogressed and you're trying to get back on your feet, of course. So like you said, getting into the mortgage company. You said you didn't really have an experience, but you made such a great impression with somebody that worked there that they were willing to give you a chance.
Yeah, I don't even know if it made a great impression. I have no idea why he hired me, but
It had to be a great impression. That's all I'll say. It had to be a great impression
for me, and okay, let's do that. Funny story about that too is because that same person is, after that, and we've known each other for pretty much most of our lives, but like I said, we weren't friends until this was after high school time period. Because of that situation, working together, one of my best friends till this day, right? But while we were at that mortgage company, same thing. We are at a bar together. Like I said, a lot of bars at that point in time. And another guy from high school ran into us, exact same scenario. He was talking to him about it, said, come talk to me on Monday, right? Monday comes around, the guy calls me, he's like, I'm not talking to him. So I was like, listen, man, I don't know what I did, but thank you for answering my call because you started me off in my financial career, right? I probably wouldn't be here. I never would have done that at that point in time in my life. I would never have thought I would be in sales or anything like that, customer facing situations. But he gave me the opportunity and worked out. So,
Sure, yeah.
Ben, you got any experiences like that?
Yeah, I want to relate it with my background. So with my origin from Kenya, Kenya is really very different, and the culture is there is very big on relationships. So you pretty much have to know someone to get anything done. If you get in an accident, it is who you know so that you can at least get the help that you need. I can only relate it based on just me being told, go to school, get a bachelor's degree, you'll get a good job. That's the promise that my parents told me. Have good grades, graduate, have your degree, and you will have a very good, nice office job. And as a kid, that's what I knew. I'm going to get good grades, go to school, graduate, all that. But then having to graduate and now going to the job sector, you find that the promise that I was told is the same promise my cousins and my best friends and everybody has. So the demand for job there is you have a lot of qualified candidates looking for jobs with very minimal openings. And then now it draws to, is your parent connected? Are you connected? Who do you know? Because it's the same thing. If you could find like one posting has 200 applicants who are majorly overly qualified. And so while I didn't spend a lot of time in Kenya, the first 2 semesters that I spent there, I pretty much knew that, well, I would have to network with people, get to connect with them and figure out a way to, to empower. And that gave me more of an opportunity of taking time to know my classmates, get to know who their father is or where they're from and all that. And that was mainly called the centers of influence. Today I use it here and I apply it with my friends. So my friends, I call them my centers of influence. Yeah.
COI, as we call it in our world, right?
Yes.
Center of influence.
Yeah. And so mainly with my friends would be, if I have whatever I may want to discuss with them, whether it's career-based or academic or just life in general, they're my source. They're the people I go to, and they give me guidance on that. Yeah.
The whole conversation around relationships is very important and near and dear to my heart because it's not something I understood for most of my life. It's something I've grasped and clung to over probably the last 4 or 5 years. Right. I had a great group of friends, and family, and small group, and just like this is all I need. But the smaller your circle, the smaller your opportunities are as well.
That's true.
It wasn't until I got older and started understanding that like the power of relationships and networking, right? Going out there and finding that and realizing that people out there are willing to help you if you need so. And you may not need help, but they're willing to connect you to people to give you other opportunities. I'm sitting here behind this desk because of somebody I knew.
Somebody you knew, yeah.
Right?
And sometimes we have a lot of ideas that juggle our minds. We want to solve problems. We want to create really good ideas, but we have no one that we can go to who can really, sometimes you just need, you have an idea, you go to somebody who's very positive and they nourish that idea and they make it even greater. So just making sure that, on a daily basis, we're active. We know even if you're at the gym, just smile, be friendly because you don't know who's next to you.
Like I said, driving home the point I said to the middle schoolers there, right? While you're in school, you're not thinking about life after school.
Right.
You're just thinking about whatever daily drama's going on in your little world here, not understanding like that person that you're sitting next to now that you may be making an enemy of, right? They're not going to remember you 4 or 5 years from now. They're not going to understand how you grew out of that. They're going to remember you from the person that you are today 14, 15 years old, right? That's the impression you're making on them. When you go to get a job and that person's the one that calls you and says, hi, remember me, right? Is your jaw going to drop?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be confident in yourself because, hey, yeah, we went to school together. We weren't best friends, but, we always had respect for each other.
That's true.
Right? I think that's something that's very important for schools to drive home with kids, as well as understanding that aspect of it. Now, we only got a couple minutes left, but relationships aren't always positive either. Relationships can be negative on you from a financial burden. We talked about how it can help you financially, but that people can also be a financial burden on you. Understanding like who you're connected to and how that can rub off on you and your what people think of you, right? You guys got anything to share on that? Negative impacts of relationships? Anybody you've had to cut off at some point in time?
Only thing that I can relate that to is pretty much the seminar that we had Saturday with surrounding yourself with positive influence and blocking out the negative ones. And the analogy I used was about Jay-Z with the family member that asked if he could get like $4,500 from him. I said, once you open that door, it's going to be harder to get that door shut. I said, because today it might be $4,500. I said, tomorrow it might be $5,000. I said, next week it might be $10,000. I said, who knows how long they're going to keep asking for more of you. I said, so at the same time, you need to keep your peace of mind at heart. I said, and I understand that some people have a generosity in themselves that they want to help people. I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting to help people. I said, but at the same time, I said, there's also nothing wrong with saying no.
Yeah. What's the old analogy they say? Give a man a fish, he can eat for a day.
Teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life, right? Giving somebody money today isn't going to solve the problem. It's just going to have them coming back to ask for more money next month.
Right.
And I think I said this on the last episode too, is last show. I never give first of all, I don't give anybody money, period, right? Unless it's kids. But ultimately, if you do give somebody money, never give it to them with the expectations that you're going to get it back, right? You're just setting yourself up for downfall and you're going to lose a relationship. Maybe it's a relationship you want to lose, then go ahead and give them the money. But ultimately, if you give somebody money, do it out of the kindness of your heart, like, here you go. But I don't expect this back. If you do, great. But I don't expect this back. I'm doing this to help you out at this point in time for it. But give them advice. Help them out. Don't give them the money.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And one thing that somebody said that is, if you're going to lend money out to somebody, only lend them what you're willing to lose. So if you're not willing to part with $20, don't give them $20.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You ever seen the movie Brooklyn Tale?
No.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it. Go watch it. But there's a scene in there where it's a New York Italians mafia type thing. One of the kids in there sees a guy he gave $20 to, has been dodging him for weeks, and he goes chasing him across the street. And then the mafia guy he looks up to comes over, stops him, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like, he owes me $20. I'm gonna go break his legs. And I was like, what? It's like, think about it this way. You give him $20. Is he gonna ever come ask you for money again? Nope. No. It cost you $20 to get him out of your life. Right.
That's how to look at it.
Yep,
that is true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's all the time we got today. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, talked about the power of relationships. We started off talking about the mindset seminars. Once again, just as a reminder, next seminar is October 11th from 4 to 6, and then the third in the series will be on November 15th. So more people you bring, more chances you get to get enrolled to win a flat screen TV, right, Terrence?
Absolutely.
So we hope to see you there. Until next time, Ryan, Terrence, Ben, we are our neutral voices. Peace.